Hello, welcome back.
Welcome back.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Megan.
We are the co-founders of Synchronicity, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life, and you are listening to our podcast and our YouTube channel.
All the above.
All the things. Today is a great topic that not a lot of people are talking about, but we're going to talk about it. And it's the difference of self-awareness versus self-reflection and how they coexist.
Yeah, so we are a microdosing company, but we also do the rescripting and the brain change with it. Microdosing on its own is helpful, but it doesn't, it's like take a pill and fix it culture. It's not as good as if you are actually putting in a new program when you are taking a microdose to reprogram the brain. Because what are you replacing your programming with is what we do, right? We are the new program. We're the upgrade.
Yep.
And so when we think about self-reflection and self-awareness, they're the key to change. Without these two, you quite literally cannot change. So
there's a lot of buzz right now in social media. Like earlier today, I was literally on Instagram and I was reading a post about how people don't feel anything when they're microdosing. And it's all about like feelings. Like everyone wants to feel something or it's not working. And that's not the goal of microdosing. Microdosing is really about softening the neuroplasticity so that you're then able to change the programming, like Meg said. And in changing the programming, you have to become self-aware of what is actually going on. So when you're microdosing, it becomes a heightened sense of awareness. And a lot of times people will report like, oh, wow, things are like slowing down, like their thoughts, they're understanding their emotions. That's where microdosing plays such a key role in becoming self-aware of what you may have not been aware of prior.
Right. And, when you become self-aware, then self-reflection then is something that you're capable of, because before we are self-aware, we literally cannot self-reflect.
No.
So, one of the hallmarks of a narcissist, sociopath, psychopath is that they're not self-aware and they can't self-reflect. So it's one of those things like that's being empathetic, that's having emotions. Not that psychopaths don't have emotions. They do. They just don't care about anybody else's, is the problem, because they're the center of the universe, right? God complex. So same with narcissists and bipolars and all of those things, because that's all on the same level. But when we become self-aware, awareness brings change and choice. And change and choice are the two things that bring the upgrade to the program, because we can change the parent programming. We can, upgrade the child programming to, or heal it, or, however you want to frame it. But we're allowing ourselves to, be the people that we want to be. Because it's like, oh, well, this person, my mentor always says, if you don't have something that you want, find somebody that has it and go work with them or be friends with them or whatever, because it passes through you or to you with osmosis, right? Because it's like, you don't choose a partner unless you want to be like them, because you're going to become like them. So we don't pick partners that we want to fix. We pick partners that we wish to be like, right? And that if we had a child that acted just like them, we would enjoy that, not try to change and manipulate the child. And so many relationships nowadays, whether it's friendship, intimate relationships, you name it, we're trying to fix our partners, right? Codependency is the number one relationship type in today's world. And in my opinion, that's lack of self-awareness and self-reflection, because you're trying to fix yourself in another person, because we date and love our wounds.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's why we have talked previously, if you guys have followed us for some time, we talk about being in a relationship will show you all of the things that you need to look at and heal in yourself, because the only way to actually look at yourself is through a relationship, because that's a mirror. Yeah. And so, whether you're in a relationship or you're just starting microdosing, or you've gone and you've sat in ayahuasca and you got to see your true subconscious mind or subconscious, unconscious mind, and you are now here like, oh, wow, like I have some shit to look at. Well, congratulations. That's self-awareness. Now you get to reflect on it. And now you get to integrate whatever you want. But the ability to be self-aware is so important, to be able to reflect, and in reflection to have healthy new programming to put in that is not warped or skewed based on societal, like, outside manipulation.
Well, and this is something that's really quite hard to do yourself.
Yes.
You know, I know for me, you know, when I started microdosing, my first mentor was just like somebody that I found that had microdosing. It wasn't a very intentional match. I was just so excited to be able to try this thing that I'd heard so much about. You know, and then I actually got a spiritual mentor that I want to be like. You know, she calls me out, but it's just somebody that keeps you on track and calls you on your shit and makes you more self-aware and more aware of where you're getting off course, right? Because we all have this person that we want to be, but we have blind spots. And so self-awareness, yes, microdosing helps, but it also helps to have somebody reflect with of, you know, I had this happen and I didn't really enjoy it, and this was what was going on, and they can help you see the patterning that's causing the things in your life that you don't want, and how to shift in your communication and in your behaviors and in your mannerisms so that you don't attract that anymore. Because life is a mirror, life's a projection. You know, the things that you're inviting into it are all a part of you, and it's, you know, we either learn and grow, you know, or we collapse. And seeing adversity as an opportunity is a huge part of my self-awareness journey and self-reflection journey, is just never being a victim in a situation, always seeing it as an opportunity to help others or change or whatever. And sometimes you need a mentor or somebody to help you through that process. I actually don't know anybody of all the people that I admire that have not had some type of a mentor. And I would argue that you should always have a mentor, somebody that's helping you, just a spiritual guide of some sort. And even Marcus Aurelius in Stoicism talks about having a mentor or spiritual guide or those kinds of things to keep you on track.
Well, and I think right now in the world, there's a lot of spiritual bullshit. Just saying, I'm going to throw it out there. There's a lot of spiritual bullshit. Like, there's a lot of people hiding behind spirituality. And, you know, I'm not sitting here saying that we have all the answers. Our philosophies are very simple. We teach you how to recommunicate. We identify if you're an avoidant or not an avoidant, anxious. Are you secure? Like, what are you? Like, what do you need to work on? What are you aware of? What are you not aware of? Like, what have you reflected on? You know, because it is exactly like what you were saying. It's bouncing off someone else who is one step ahead of you, but they also understand the ability and how hard it is to change, but choice is within that change. And you have to choose to change, but you have to be aware first, reflect, then you have the choice to change. And so many people, you know, they talk about it takes 90 days to change a habit. Well, yeah, it takes 90 days to change your brain. It takes 90 days to implement a habit. And so kind of circling back around on the pill culture, you know, so many people just want instant gratification. They just want it fixed like today, and they don't want to work on it.
Well, I think we're going to look back at this time in history, and we're going to see it as the darkest period in mental health and the most corrupt in mental health that the world has ever seen. You know, we perpetuate problems instead of getting to the root. We have, you know, there are good psychiatrists and psychologists and therapists and counselors and things, but the majority of them preach and teach victimhood. They don't teach to actually look at your problems, become self-aware, self-reflect, because they don't actually know how to change them. Talk therapy is great, but it doesn't do anything for changing programs. It doesn't upgrade the program. And we've seen it over and over again in our work. And, you know, also People go to the doctor, and the statistic is staggering that 27% today of people that go to the doctor come out with some kind of mood stabilizer. That's insanity, right? Also, we need to look at why is our culture that unhappy? Because that's the root cause. We're not looking at that. We're just normalizing it, which is great. I don't think that there should be shame, but we need to try to understand why this many people in our culture are unhappy. That's not okay.
Well, but I also think that it is laziness. I don't think people actually want to put in the effort to change. So if they have the choice to take a drug and be numb.
Okay, so I'm gonna debate this because this is important. What do you think it's laziness? Or the only access they have is to psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists that don't know any better. So we're mistaking laziness as just a lot of these people don't have the answers.
Well, but then that goes into, yes, I totally accept your counter argument. I do feel and think that our society, based on Freudian theory, is breeding a bunch of psychologists and therapists and all of the psychiatrics. I mean, we've talked to many of them, and they're so stuck in an old framing. They're not willing to even accept, there's some people that are talking about it, but, they're so instilled into a system that they truly believe works.
Well, their problem is, and it's the dark side of capitalism, right? They need to make money and survive. So all these people are in survival and in scarcity of also, if I heal this person, then, that's $200 a week that I'm missing out on. Right. And that's a thing. And that's an incentive to just sit and listen and not actually try to help or change or, again, there's this dark side of money. And I'm not saying that money is evil in its essence, but it is evil when you're focused on it more than actual service or a person, right?
Well, but
that's evil.
That is, so you speak with a therapist, they help you be self-aware by asking you a couple questions, but then the inability to self-reflect, that's tools.
I don't even think they're teaching self-awareness or self-reflection. I think that they're teaching narcissism because they just validate. Victimhood. They don't teach self-awareness is usually being wrong.
That's true.
It's not being right.
Yeah.
And so when we look at, modern day psychology, we're teaching victimhood and narcissism, not you need to look at this and see your part in it. That is not the majority. There's a minority that is teaching this, and I have come across a few, but the majority are teaching mental illness, not mental health.
Yeah, it's true. And it's crazy to me that, it's expensive.
It's so expensive.
It's expensive, and it's a very old system. It's a very old system.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And, you look at what our mental health has been around for 100 years in the medical world. And we have ancient tribes that don't have any mental health problems that are still functioning today.
But they're teaching self-awareness and self-reflection because ayahuasca is a mirror into your unconscious. If your conscious and unconscious mind are linked through self-awareness and self-reflection, I would argue that that is the cure to any kind of mental illness or mental health crisis, because you are only ever up against yourself. It's not you against anybody else. It's you and how you're perceiving and how you're thinking and how you're overcoming. And you're against yourself. And so that is what mushrooms or ayahuasca or anything do, is that it sets up the dilemma that makes you realize that it's within you to change, because you can't change anybody else. And that's the gift of psychedelics. And that's what changed my life, because I was one of the people that, might be considered lazy, or because I would go to therapists and I was like, they can't tell me what's wrong with me.
Oh, I remember it was my mom's fault, my dad's fault, my this fault, my boss's fault, my this. It really was and it was also super crazy to me because it was whatever insurance took.
Mm-hmm.
It was whatever insurance took. And like, I remember there was a therapist in Southern California that I really wanted to see. She was $500 an hour and she didn't take insurance.
Yeah. It's elitism.
Yeah. I was like, wow. Okay. That's kind of really jacked up before I was even awake. Like I remember going and being like, this is a bunch of bullshit. They're giving me worksheets and they're blaming my dad. And my parents. Like, what is happening?
You know, and the thing is like, two things can be true. It's like, it can be that it is your dad's fault and your mom's fault, but what are you going to do about it? Because you can't change the past. You can't change who you were raised by. And
you can't change your parents.
Yeah. So, you know, great. But what does that solve to blame? It doesn't. And it's just such a fascinating system. And I totally disagree with it. And for the majority of, what it teaches. And, again, it's kind of like our medical system, because they're basically one and the same. We're teaching sickness, not health.
Yeah, but
doctors don't even talk about food. Psychiatrists don't even talk about food. We don't, 90% of problems can just be solved by cutting out sugar, going for a walk, getting vitamin D, doing all these things. We deplete the body of minerals and vitamins and hormones, and then we go to a doctor to fix the problem that can't be fixed.
Well, but up into that, think of all of the fussing and upset and indecision that happened because one just wanted to be in self-loathing. So they didn't go outside and they didn't eat good. And then their body got sicker and sicker because what do they say? It takes like 2 months to get sick from indecisiveness. Whether you believe in that or not, whether you believe in germ theory or not, we've actually literally tested this, and you will get sick around 2 months if you are in indecisiveness in your life somewhere or you're fussing over something.
Well, yeah, of course, because it's conflict, it's stress. I mean, stress, especially as a woman, that's why the majority of autoimmune diseases are in women, because our bodies, right, are not made to overcome stress, right? Our bodies break down with stress. Right. Men's bodies actually do well with stress, right? Raises testosterone, raises vasopressin, raises all of these things when you have challenge. But nowadays, the sperm count would be considered infertile 20 years ago. So our testosterone rates and everything are plummeting, and nobody's talking about it. Where is the medical field? Where are the psychiatrists? Why aren't we looking at all of this? Because automatically low T is going to cause issues in men. Also, vasopressin, oxytocin, those things are all related in the brain.
Well, but first society has to become aware before we can reflect, and look at what's happening in our society right now. We have been in such a absolute horrible food dilemma. Now we're in awareness, and now we get to reflect and change it and make better choices. Literally the US banned red dye 40 today.
Nice. And
TikTok. So look, we're making, and TikTok. And you're probably going to hear this days after this happened, but that's where we're at as a society. So, awareness and reflection is all around us. We just have to choose to become aware, and we have to choose to change within that reflection.
Well, and part of self-awareness, I know the big thing that Nicole and I do now that we never were taught as children is how to self-regulate. It's if I'm getting mad or upset or angry or sad or whatever, the first thing I do is check in. It's have I gone for a walk today? Have I seen the sun? Have I eaten? What have I eaten?
How much water have I drank?
How much water have I drank?
Did I work out today?
Exactly. Versus this person is being a dick and I just want to strangle him. It's no, it's probably something that's dysregulated with me. And if it's not me, after I check through those things, then it's okay, let's have a conversation with what's going on. But I will tell you, 99% of the time, I have not done something to take care of myself. Yeah. And that is such a key to understanding nutrition, to understanding hormones, to understanding minerals, to understanding proper hydration, to understanding, gut health,
everything,
digestion. All of these things should be taught in schools, but instead we're teaching calculus that I never fucking used, and, pointless shit. And, and we're in a mental health crisis. We're in a relationship crisis. We're in a fertility crisis. The world's in all of these crises. And, you know, it's funny that we complicate things so much, and it's literally quite simple.
Yeah.
And we need to just come back to the simplicity of life and not making it. I'm a big believer in simplifying, not making it. So many people, like, it's like Sigmund Freud, right? He just wanted to make things so complex that nobody could understand. Eric Berne came in and said, I want to simplify this so everybody can understand it, so everybody can implement it into their lives. That's where I am at.
Freud was like, fuck you.
Sigmund Freud then kicked him out of his thing, and he got fired for writing the book Intuition. But, you know, that's where we're at, and that's what, you know, you and I are here for. It's like, how do we make the world or people's lives just happier and simpler? Because making things super complex just gives me anxiety.
Well, and also, like, I'm just gonna, like, throw it out there, like, with the modern, like, medical, like, they're gonna give you every fucking title. You're ADHD, you're ADD, you're this, you're that, you're upside down, and you're backwards. Okay, well, first thing to self-awareness is, like Megan said, what are you putting in your mouth? How much are you moving your body? And where is your head at? Are you working crazy hours? Are you exponentially spending? Are you, like, what are your everyday, who are you surrounding yourself with?
Who are you dating? Who are you sleeping with? Like, these things are all huge.
The like, quite literally, the first step to healing is, who are you sleeping with and what are you putting in your mouth? Because one is a severe heavy energy exchange, and the other one is a severe heavy energy exchange of nurturing and nutrition. And those two together, like, that's where healing begins. Is, oh, well, let's start with self-awareness of those two things, and then we can go from there. Because if you're not aware of those two things, or you don't want to look at those two things, I can tell you right now that no amount of plant medicine will help you. Because one, your gut's probably messed up, and your serotonin's all messed up, and your dopamine, and all of your things, and it's just going to be, you know, potentially a very catastrophic wake-up call that we can prevent if you just start with, what are you eating, and who are you sleeping with, or who are you surrounding yourself with?
Who are you spending time with?
Yeah.
Environment.
Yeah, it's huge. Even, like, is your house clean? Is your room clean? Is it organized? Like, what is your energy around you? You know, it's a huge thing that contributes to a lot of the, you know, we're constantly absorbing energy. And, you know, where are you at?
Everything's energy.
Everything's energy. So if you have any comments, experiences, if you like, please like, comment, share. If you're subscribing, if you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. We just literally started doing our YouTube channel. So we are like baby YouTubers.
We are baby YouTubers.
You know, we are streaming on Spotify, Apple, all big major platforms. So if you like what we said, please leave a comment. It helps the show, and it helps us grow, and it makes us smile when you guys, you know, interact. Whether you agree with us or you don't agree with us, we love to hear all of your feedback on what you think and if we affected your life in any way, shape, or form.
And again, if you have any questions, you have something you want us to talk about or anything, please comment below and, like, give us topics, ideas. We also love to just answer questions. And so your questions are getting answered. If you want to understand something, if you want us to elaborate on something, we have just vast amounts of knowledge. And if not, I have people that I can ask that know way more than I do. Those are my mentors. So again, you know, what do you guys want to know? What do you want to hear us talk about? Because again, we know about nutrition, mental health, psychology, psychiatry, you know, medications, microdosing, ayahuasca, relationships,
makes
communication.
Really good at your color palette if you're really worried about
fashion.
Your colors.
I'm going to talk about fashion on here, but, like, I love fashion. You know, the world would have been a better place. I would have totally done that, but, you know, here we are in a self-crisis, really. So anyway, thank you for being here, and
like, follow, share.
And for now,
bye.